Hey, I just want to say thank you to all the sponsors of the Lincoln County podcast: Hozak Plumbing, Simply Worth, Medical Weight Loss, Town and Country Insurance, The Guild, and Boyer Academy. Thank you guys for your sponsorship, and thank you for making the Lincoln County podcast possible. Just want to say thank you to everyone at Boyer Academy. Without the success of Boyer Academy and all the families there, I wouldn't have met all these wonderful people in and around Lincoln County that have came on the Lincoln County podcast. So without you guys, none of this would really be possible. Having this has been a dream come true, to sit down and talk to so many business owners and share my experiences at Boyer Academy, their experiences and successes with their business with everyone in and around our local area. Hey guys, welcome to the Lincoln County podcast. I know I say it every week, but I am very, very excited about this week's special guest. This has been in the works for a little bit now while we got everybody in and around to make this happen, and I'm just beyond thrilled today to bring you our Team USA from Boyer Academy that competed multiple times now for the WKU Worlds, has been all over the world. And we're going to kind of dive into that today, what it's like being on a team like that, what it's like to drape the American flag over your shoulders and compete not only for yourself and your martial arts school, but for your country. It's an honor very few in this world have had. And we're really excited to sit down and talk with everybody and see how that was for everyone today as we kind of move into this. So I hope you guys enjoy. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, check out our sponsors, because without them, we could not bring you this amazing content that we're able to bring as often as we do. So we owe a lot to them. So make sure to support them and show them that love that they're showing right back to the Troy and Lincoln County communities. So I want to get started today by saying, getting us all together and doing this is really cool. Competing in Worlds as Team USA is so much bigger than us, and it was something that when we got the opportunity to try out for the team, to place, to make that trip around the multiple countries. I mean, this has been months of exhausting training each time we go. It's just been huge, and to be able to say that Lincoln County has a Team USA that really does train and travel and compete in Taekwondo, kickboxing, sport karate is amazing, and is something that I know the community has showed a lot of support for and has been really proud of all you guys and everything that we've done with it. And so I'm just happy to get it right here and kind of talk about it. So the first thing I want to do is just kind of go around with name, first name, last name, and age. We'll just do that so everybody's kind of names are out there. We'll start over there.
I'm Kendall Mosier, and I'm 17.
I'm Emily Bryan, and I'm 13.
I'm Jocelyn Boyer, and I'm 9.
I'm Brooklyn Hertel, I'm 14.
I'm Benjamin Boyer, and I'm 11.
I'm Riley Palm, and I'm 18.
Awesome. So when we first found out, so when we first got the, hey, you guys are looking sharp, you can come try out, come to the qualifier up in Indiana. What were some of the thoughts that you guys had before competing? Like, I know we've had some of these conversations we've had, talking about it in our travels, but what were some of the thoughts of that you had when we found that out?
Before the qualifier, we were talking about going out of the country and stuff, and I was like, we're just gonna go to this tournament. We're not actually gonna go out of the country and compete and all that stuff. And then I realized, my parents talked about it a little bit, and we realized it was actually realistic, and we actually could do that, and I actually could qualify, because I was walking in and I was like, maybe I'll qualify in one division, maybe not. I had no clue who's going to be there, and I think that was one of the most nervous I've been for a competition, because it's your first competition, first time being there, and then add on the qualifying part, it adds another level of nerves, so that was a whole new experience.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, it was just nervous being able, thinking that you would be able to qualify and actually leave the country to compete. You normally don't get, that's not an opportunity that everyone gets to have. So it was just nervous and excited at the same time too, though, that you could get to do that and compete with your team and against other people who had that opportunity.
I know big thing for all of us going into that was the unknown. We had never done it. You know, it was 2 years ago. It was our first year going. We were qualifying to go to Cardiff, Wales, and you know, there were a lot of parts of it. Being in martial arts now, of July will be 32 years for me. I've seen world tournaments. I've had so many friends that have competed different styles, different places in the world. That it's been something I kind of worked through my brain. But the thought of us actually qualifying and the fact that they may say, you know what, you get to go it was heavy. I mean, it weighed heavy on all of us. We practiced our butts off to get ready for it. You know, what were some of the emotions you guys felt either at the tournament? You know, I know Kendall and I had a talk at the tournaments. We were both exhausted because in our brain we had done like, I had bowed in, I had qualified, they walked over, and then I'd wake up before they said like if you made it or if you placed or whatever. So I remember just standing there being like, oh, I feel like I've done this 100 times already.
I mean, I was just excited to go out of the country. Like, that's a really cool experience that, like she said, not a lot of people get. But I also didn't know what to expect because every country was going to be there and they all did different things differently. So they fight different, they forms different, they yell different, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
I feel like I was more scared because like you don't want to like waste all this money to go and like not actually be able to like make it somewhere.
Yeah, to go and actually maybe place or yeah. I know one of the big things for me was, you know, again, the unknown. Going to a different country, experiencing a different culture, and then all those cultures coming together in one room to speak basically one language of martial arts. You know, no matter who you were competing against, whether we spoke English or not, we were all there to share martial arts. So the day we got there, what was some of your first, you know, I would say maybe not even like your first thoughts when we walked in the room, because it was more as like, as I remember, it was like midday once everything was rolling. Like we all were like, so particularly Cardiff. Let's start with that one because that was our first one. What was some of your guys' like feelings once we got there? We can kind of backtrack and talk about the journey there too. But as far as going into that room with all those different countries.
It was a little nerve-wracking because, like, when you're training and stuff, you're like, okay, I got this and stuff. But, like, once you get there, it gets more real. Like, you're there. There's no going back. And you see everyone there, and it's just a whole bunch of incredible people there, like, who are crazy good that you're going to be competing against. So it gets more real once you get there and not quite as, like, you're going to get there, but, like, it's time to compete.
No, it's a totally different culture shock to
Yeah.
just a regular tournament. Yeah.
I think the whole thing was like, it was like a fever dream. Like, it was a whole week. I was in school. It was completely different, like, routine. We would wake up so early. We would go to bed so late. And then on top of that, we had to compete. And then when you get there, it's like, no matter how much you practiced before, like, I still felt unprepared. Like, the week before, I was like, this is much I can practice. And then you get there, and it's like, well, maybe I didn't practice enough because you see all these other people. And then on top of that, you're like representing your country, and that's like a whole nother level of like pride you feel from that. You know, you don't really, I was expecting to feel that way, but then when I got there, I was like, okay, I want to do good, not just for myself, but like for the team that I'm actually representing the whole week.
It's a whole different weight on your shoulders at that point. Business owners talk about it a lot with imposter syndrome. Like they work really hard, they do really well, and then when they start getting the accolades and the recognition for doing well, they're like, me, I suck. Like and I feel like we all kind of had a little imposter syndrome going into it. Like, I know we qualified, but ooh, now we're here. Oh, here's your flag. Wrap this around your shoulder. Oh, I'm representing my country now. Oh, that was big. How did you feel when we got over there, Ben?
I was happy and nervous, but mostly nervous because you were going against different countries and different people that you've never went against before. Because at like normal tournaments, you go against people that you've gone against before, but out of the country, you mostly never go against.
To a point, a lot of the tournaments we travel to, whether you compete against that person all the time, maybe they're in a division next to you, like whether you know them, like you know them, you know who they are. It's a lot of times we see some of the same competitors. When I was a kid, it was that way. I came up competing with somebody. I'm very good friends with several of them till this day that That was our only real interaction was, the 6-7 tournaments we did a year back then. But we've still stayed friends. So you do know them whether you're in your division. And that's a good point. Like we got over there, we didn't know anyone. I mean, other than our own Team USA that went, but we didn't even know all of them because it's people from all over the entire country.
Some of the tournaments you haven't been to that they've been to.
Yeah. What about you, Jocelyn? How'd you feel when we got over there?
Nervous.
Yeah. What about you, Riley?
It was very overwhelming.
That's
The first day in
great
the
way to
venue,
put it.
there was a lot of people all speaking different languages. You couldn't hear the microphone. Like, it was very stressful also because you're trying to make sure you're in the right space, the right place at the right time. You don't want to miss your turn or anything.
I feel like you either have to like embrace the stress of it or embrace the feeling of you being overwhelmed, or it's just gonna like take you over in that moment and you're not gonna compete as best as you know you can. So it's just in that moment I was like, well, you either have to embrace it or this week's not gonna be very fun. So.
How'd you feel together? Because like the first year when we went to Cardiff, like you and Jesse weren't really with us until we seen you guys standing there and said, "Hey, go, just hang out with us."
Like I not only did I not know anybody else, I knew nobody on Team USA. I only knew Emily from tournaments. So I was like, I have like no one here with me right now.
I know I had to pay her to go over and talk to you. Talk to her. No, seriously, we were standing there. And I'm like, "Hey guys, like, go grab Brooklyn and Jesse." They're like, "Oh, yeah," because we noticed that no one else. It was just you two, and Dad. So I was like, "Oh." We sit and talk to them at every tournament. Go grab them. They can go with us. I think we all went to. That was after opening ceremonies. We went to eat. It was huge, and the one thing to keep in mind for anybody watching and listening to this, like, opening ceremonies were in a castle courtyard with a castle looming over. We stood outside the wall doing the woot woot Team USA, and we walked in. We're introduced as our country with all the different countries lined up. That was huge. That's where we're standing there, like, wow, this is so cool. In general, the castle. You had just the scenery behind us. Was overwhelming. Like it was just so much to take in at one given time. All the different languages. You're taking a tournament, which is a high stress situation. Now you're adding in languages. Now you're adding in the fact, yes, they do run everything in English, but it doesn't mean their English is good. There were so many things, and no matter how much you prepare for that, there's going to be stuff that you're not ready for. My form competition, I tied. Talk a million times, ties barely ever happen, you're good, and all of a sudden I tied for my chance to move forward. So, Mert walk it through, Kendall looked at me, goes, "What you gonna do?" I said, "Best Peloton you ever seen? I don't know." I got a whole 4 seconds to figure it out. Brett just smiled at me. I'm like, "Let's go. Let's do it." Like, it puts it on the line for you. And I know, Emily's dad and I had talked, like there was one point we were downstairs just bumped into. Everyone speaking a different language. It was hot. The venue, apparently occupancy codes are not a thing in Europe because that was way too many people. I remember when they finally told me to go upstairs for my forms, I was like, "Thank you."
This is like
Off the main floor.
Yeah.
Because the upstairs area was so much more peaceful. It was just so much to take in that whole week. One of you run us through kind of like what our day was like over there.
Well, we would get up really early because I think we had to walk like 30 minutes to the venue.
Minimum, yeah,
or
about
something
30. About
like
30.
that. Right, so we had to figure out how to get there, and then we had to walk. By the time we got to the venue, we were already kind of tired because we had to walk, and usually it's cold or raining or whatever. We got to the tournament. We would get there usually when the doors open because we're in a big group. We don't know who's going to compete, who's going to go first. You have to warm up. The schedule was kind of, we didn't really know exactly what time we were going to go. So we were basically at the tournament all day. I remember we didn't really get a good lunch. I remember my dad and Casey running to like Burger King or something and getting like 20 Happy Meals for our kids' meals so we could actually have some food for the day. But the whole time you're just on like an adrenaline high, so like you don't really think about like your normal routine. You just kind of like trying to adapt to what's going on in the moment. And there's just so much going on. There's like 5 different languages in your ear the whole time. You're trying to figure out what's going on.
It's giving me anxiety. Just talking about it, I'm like, oh my gosh, I remember I was just like freaking out the whole day.
And then we would actually compete, you know, whether that went good or bad, you probably have to compete the next day. We would go home, eat dinner, usually as a team, and then we would go to a parking garage or to the lobby of our hotel or just someone's hotel room to practice till like 11. And then you have this big group, everybody goes to bed in their rooms, and then we wake up and do it all over again.
Yeah, I remember getting kicked out of the hotel a couple times.
Yeah, the lobby, that second story lobby when everybody was up there, but some people were getting a little rowdy. Yeah, that's when we started finding, I think, parking lots. Yeah, parking lots had lights on. You know, for anyone who doesn't know the way it works, how many days was it? Was it 5? 5 days. We had to qualify in the States, then you had to run through and move on to the finals. So you had to place in the top 3, no, 4. And then the top 4 then would compete again at the end of the tournament in the finals. So not only did you have to make it through the prelims, but you had to then compete again in the finals, which was, you know, our goal was to get everybody through finals. That was our game plan we set. So we would, like I said, we'd be there all day. Then we would walk somewhere to eat. And then we would go to, because they had us split between 2 hotels. We'd go to one hotel or the other. Like I said, we got thrown out of the one. And we would practice until we were pretty well exhausted because of our nerves. I mean, I didn't want to just go back and sleep. Then we go sleep, early breakfast, and back at it again the next day. I mean, it was just insane. And then on top of it, trying to find somewhere to eat every night. I think all of us lived on cheese pizza after the chicken nugget bottle.
Oh my gosh,
That was you were saying something about eating at the tournament. I don't remember. I remember them doing that. I don't physically remember eating anything at the events. I just remember by the time we left being like, I have to have food.
Yeah.
And I have to have it like now. And then it's like, oh cool, well, let's walk 30 minutes because it wasn't worth getting a car.
Then we go to a restaurant, we don't know what kind of food they have.
Yeah, our fake chicken.
Yeah, you think that you order something safe, like some chicken nuggets or whatever. They come to you. Those things were disgusting. They're like vegetarian.
They weren't.
No, they were impossible.
They
were all
They
that
were like meat-free chicken.
chicken-free chicken.
Yeah.
When I tell people that was like, the breakfast was amazing.
Yeah.
The hotel breakfast was like fresh off the farm. I think they called that cheeky bacon, like almost ham-style bacon. Like that was amazing. But then every other meal was horrible. Absolutely horrible. All walking, all the traveling, you know, and then trying to squeeze in those little times for something enjoyable.
Yeah.
What you know, because we had, you know, that was Cardiff, Wales. Everybody kind of did a little bit of sightseeing over there. Nothing huge. It was mainly just all of us together. I know one of my biggest takeaways was just how cool it was to be a part of something bigger like that. You know, we have a great martial arts atmosphere in St. Louis, and we're really tight with everybody, and we have all this fun at the tournaments, and then to go overseas with so many people from the St. Louis area, because we had such a large group here go, that was really, really cool to see everyone and to compete with them and to be side by side with. I mean, some of my favorite stories now are, you know, all the stuff that we did over there and everything. So I do want to go around this time, like each person. I want you to share, like, what is your favorite story, like your favorite thing from Cardiff? Like while we're talking about Wales, like at the comp.
I'm trying to think of a really good one. I think a lot of the time, like with the fights, like all of you guys fighting over there, I think that's a very those are memorable moments because you have the ring and you have everybody surrounded by the ring. And then I was told at the beginning not to yell too loud to ruin my voice because I had 6 other forms divisions, but then I have, 6 teammates fighting and it's like, well, I'm not going to do that. So I would just be there yelling at the ring. I didn't really know what I was talking about. People were speaking different languages. I don't know if they were talking to me or what, but I was just yelling for my teammates and I thought I looked like a crazy person the whole time. But I think that was just very much, it was like a very teamwork, that just screams teamwork. I'm yelling for this person, we've been training for months, we see each other all the time now, and now I'm in a different country with you, we don't go to the same school, we're not in the same grade, whatever, but I'm supporting you in your fight, whatever the score is, and then I have to go run over to my other division, but I think it's just cool seeing your teammates compete and, you know, win or lose, whatever it may be, but, you know, when they win and they work so hard, that's like more almost as enjoyable as, you know, when you yourself win or place or
For sure. I completely agree. Emily?
I think it was also just like we're all like from the same country, but like we're all different teams or whatever. But then when you go there, you're like now you're all one big team, and then just like as our little team going and like to dinner and to places like together, not just like one person goes and does something, but like we're all together as a team, walking somewhere, eating dinner together, waking up and having breakfast together. Like I just liked the part that we were like all as a team together, and we really got a lot closer doing that.
I think it's, yeah.
For sure. For sure. Jocelyn?
One of my favorite things was going up into the castle.
Yeah, going up the steps and
That's
that's
Yeah.
at the very top.
When did we do that? We do that at the end.
It was at the first,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think
It
we-
was the
Was
first-
it the first day we did
Because
it?
they were like yelling at us to go down.
That's right, for the
Yes.
group photo.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
yeah.
got rushed down. That's right.
Like right after.
Wasn't it opening ceremonies?
Yeah, right after.
They were yelling at
Right
us.
And we were yelling at everyone, but there were other people upstairs like, well, you go get them. It's our class. So come.
Mine probably like Kendall, like watching the fights. I remember like a couple times me and Jocelyn would be like, "Hey, what team thinks gonna win, Germany or USA?" Like we just like place bets on like the fights.
Yeah, that was a neat part too. Was instead of it being this dojo versus that dojo, it was country versus country.
Yeah.
Ben.
My favorite part was either going up into the castle or like being maybe like being nervous about it, and then you get in there and you're all good about it, and then you go through it, and then it's just you feel scared, but then you go through it and you're okay after it, and then you're like
That's good. That's very true. How
and then
how your nerves get you, and then once you get out there on the mats,
you
And
just
that's
go through it, and then it's
something you guys will learn the more you compete too. Is when you're standing there and you don't have the nerves, you don't compete as well. Like when I walk into a tournament, I'm like, oof, okay, we're here today, and I know I'm going to compete better that day. Something.
I kind of have two things.
That's fine.
One would be just the culture shock in general. Like, I personally like to learn about different cultures and like what they eat and traditions they have. And like, for example, in Cardiff, the school system's completely different. Like, I just think that's really cool. And then I didn't trade anything, but the fact that you could trade for other country stuff and you could get like their sparring uniforms or like, I don't know, their
Tracksuits.
flag. You could trade flags. You could get like all their warm ups. Like, I thought that was really cool too.
That was the neat part. I traded the nastiest, sweatiest, grossest American T-shirt for a Germany T-shirt for Kendall. The kid come over at the end. He was so desperate for anything. I'm like, I got this. It was dripping. He's like, I'll take it. My T-shirt was disgusting, but sure, go give Kendall that shirt because they wanted it. So that was something that like when we were gonna go over there, everybody kind of talked about that, and I was like, oh whatever, we'll see what we do. But then it turned into such a cool thing, and then everybody talking to each other and getting to know each other, and communicating and meeting friends. The memory boxes that Rachel made us. Like I got photos of Ben and Jocelyn, kids they competed against or traded with.
trade again.
That was really neat to make those friends. I'd say I got two things. One, the biggest shock for us was hand gestures.
Oh yes.
We didn't know about. That was the one thing we were not quite sure of until they kept making us at them. I think I was scoring one of you two, and I was like, what does that mean? That was the one lady with the hair.
Yeah.
I can't think of her name.
I don't know.
She was really nice in
Yeah.
Canada. She was a big help in Canada
The British lady.
when we were
It's
figuring.
Patricia.
Patricia.
Oh yeah.
She's the one. Patricia's the one that helped us a lot with your division when it got messed up in Canada. She was very knowledgeable, very helpful. The biggest thing for me that most of you guys didn't even see was the last day, the last night, our last meal there. We were at that restaurant. You guys were all kind of buzzing around each other's tables and talking, and like you could tell the stress of the week had lifted. Everybody medaled. We were done with the ceremony. We were done waiting there at the flags. We were, the decompression started to lift. Like I think after like 5 minutes after this event, we all got sick. I think that's when everybody was like, okay, my body is done now. I have a cold, and now we got to travel home. But sitting there watching all you guys and the way you buzz around the tables and, I started crying a little bit sitting back there in the corner because we'll never replicate that moment ever again. But yet I know at my age and the different things I've done in life, that is a moment that when one of you gets married or one of you has your first child or whatever it is and we all come back together to celebrate that, that will be something you guys always talk about. And I got with the decompression, the event, everything, like my emotions were nuts. Like I sat back there, I started tearing up because it was, it was something that wasn't going to happen again. And I knew we would never replicate that moment because college is coming up. Like I knew you were going away to college. We didn't have much longer until you would have college. We, with Jesse, like school, graduating, like there was so much going on that I knew so much was going to change after that moment that was like, I still remember every second of that, like watching you guys buzz around and talk and like you could just see the weight of the week had lifted. And knowing that that is a moment and this is an event and this is something that through martial arts will go with you the rest of your lives. And knowing that that was started because as a little kid, I wanted to do martial arts and I got into martial arts and I stuck with it, that we were now able to have something that cool. It's really neat to look back on it as you guys get older, the choices you make in life and where they lead you. That was something that was super neat for me to know that we'll always be able to share that moment and that honor of competing like that and the stories and everything that goes with them, that you guys will always be able to tell. How was it like once everything was over? Like you had said, I mean, we all did everything together. We went to the restaurants here, we walked the streets together, and that was the coolest part. Like, I still think that, and I hope a lot of parents at the school, especially beginner level students, listen to this and kind of understand, like, why we're all so close and why we, not only, you're on 10 years now at the school, 7, 6, that you got that knows. She's been there 10 years at the school.
How am I?
You're 11. You've been at the school for 10 years, yes, because you're my child. You were out on the floor as a baby when I could teach class. But I'm saying that's a lot of years together. But on top of it, traveling the world, you've been with us now since Cardiff, basically. So that's 2 years. Even though you live in Wichita, you're still part of us and part of the school. Like it's really neat to see that, but that traveling and that being there, it's a different connection that we all have. Even with Sensei Thomas and Sensei Kramer, Sensei Norton, all those guys, like traveling around the world with these people, it's so much fun. It's so cool to see everybody. Even though on the way back, we're like, yes, done seeing you guys. We're all tired. We're all exhausted. I remember I had a fever and I was just waiting to get like grabbed at the airport for having COVID or something. I was like blotting my forehead because I felt. I think all of us, like pretty well got sick, and then we got back. Well, yeah, because we got back, and a week later, you and I were at Heartland, both pumped up on.
And I was sick. I was on all those allergy pills.
You walked in, I'm like, ooh, your eyes.
Yeah,
we were. Everybody like fell apart when we got back, but that's what happens to your body when you're doing something like that. What is like one takeaway you guys had? We're gonna start with Riley this time. Kind of from the event as we kind of wrap that up, and I know we like slacked off massively when we got back to class, like because I was so nervous going into that tournament to make sure that when we got on that plane, every minute, every ounce of blood, everything had been put into training to where there was no, man, I wish I'd have done this or I wish I'd have done that. We got there, we knew we'd done everything we could to go. To do our best. And I wanted that to, I know I ran off some students for doing that because I had some people gripe about me just being concerned. I was like, we're representing the United States of America, bite me. I am fully and 100% dedicated to this, like Brett and I are texting all the time. I'm like, dude, hoodies on tonight, we're training. We were killing our classes. Like, both of us afterwards were like, okay, we might have gotten a little pumped up. So like, what's one takeaway? Like, what's one thing that you, from that?
Honestly, I needed to be more what's the word? I was very hard on myself after the results that I got because I trained as hard as I could, I fought as hard as I could, but they were just better, and I kind of beat myself up about it.
I think we all did.
And then as I realized, I was like, okay, but they were like the best in their country, so like I kind of, I guess, made myself feel better about it. Like I did the best I could. I can't really be upset about that.
And you can't, and that's the truth. And see, that's what I talked to someone the other day about with martial arts. It's not the winning that teaches all the lessons. It's that journey, it's that training, and it's that understanding. And you did your best. You were competing against the battle was Germany. You fought the axe kicks
The
from
one
Germany.
girl I
Right? Yeah.
fought, she won like several full contact fights.
Yeah, and guess what? She's really good. She probably has a little more experience. There was a big height difference. There was a few adjustments when we'd all kind of discussed that when going to the other country. Rules were different for fighting. Things were looked for differently from tournament to tournament, but at a world level, it was really different. But that lesson you learn by going, you know what? I did the best that I absolutely could. It was her day that day. Guess what? There's been times where you guys have won and someone else has lost, and you know what? They probably had that same conversation with themselves. And I try to tell people that's where the lessons come in when parents are like, my kid's not ready to do tournaments. None of us were ready to do tournaments. None of us did awesome in the beginning. That's how you start. Like, I can't preach that enough to people. That's where it is. Everybody sees how well you guys do. They see the gold medals. They see the countries that we've traveled to, and they think that it was just like, boom, on the scene. Showed up at the tournament, did that. We all know none of our tournaments were like that. I was with you guys at every single one of them that was not like that. What was the big takeaway for you, Ben?
I thought I could have worked a little harder on my stuff. Like, on my one form when I went to Korean, it was either, I messed up my yells, and also the one kid that I went before, that went before me, was German, and he did a form called like Chris or something. But also the judges were German, so.
No, the biggest takeaway, your nerves really got to you with that tournament. And then, like they did all of us, but I mean, you were 9. So that this has been a couple years ago, that's a big deal to handle a tournament like that and to, I know how stressful, I know Emily's dad and I were sitting there talking at one point, and I was like, we were both talking like, this is a little much. It was day 1. Sparring rings had just started downstairs. Everybody's bumping into us. No one spoke English. James and I were like, oh, it's going to be a long week.
So many people, so many series, and like different everything. It's like people bumping into you, so many people.
They're on the microphone yelling, the judges are yelling.
So much.
TV screens that were not always functional, so we didn't know really where to go. Like, it was a lot. The second year was much easier with that stuff. The venue was much better.
And also for the thing that I thought that you would think was like cool or exciting there, I thought it was like really cool to go up on the mounts or stages, or whatever you want to call it, the first podium. Thought it was really cool to go on the podium and hold your flag for a picture, and you get the certificates. I thought it was really cool also that you could that my divisions I went against that was from the U.S. That was the world champion. That was already in ours.
That's awesome.
Plus he's been on like a really famous YouTube channel.
Yeah, much you broke on.
I feel like I put too much pressure on myself, and like when I lost, I put like too much hard work. I'm like, I'm not gonna win this, and that.
You had a bunch of crazy fights though, because I
had a lot of warnings too.
Yeah. So, no. You were the one. No, it wasn't them. Because I cornered you on the one where we kept getting the hand thing. Yeah. This. Yeah. That was it. I was like, I remember we got it with one, but I remember somebody got it the most. It was you. You're the one, because we were over on the one side. I remember what ring we were in. Because it was Patricia who kept doing it.
I just stood there. She don't look at me. I'm just like looking over where. She's just looking straight at me. I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, we had
I'm
literally coming over to the corner, and I'm like, I don't know. I didn't get the memo on hand
And she's like
gestures.
talking to me. And I was like looking, wandering off, looking like waiting for her to be done talking. I'm like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
I don't know. I'm like,
If you ever watch that though, so like I watch a lot of fights. There's always fighters from other countries, and you can always tell when the ref's like ripping a fighter for something, and they speak no English because they're just like, they're just looking at them. The ref's like pointing at them. They're like nothing. Back then, you'll hear their coach yell it in their language, and or there'll be a translator, but you can tell when they know no English because you can just see it in their eyes. They have
but I
no
couldn't
clue.
understand her. I was like, I don't know, like what she's saying. Like, what's this?
No, because she would like walk around the ring and she'd look at me, and I'm like.
this, no, this.
I was like, thumbs up, cool. I have no clue what that was. Yeah, that was. I would say our biggest regret was we had no clue on the hand gesture part. That to be honest, I don't think I ever found it anywhere. I think one year somebody did. I think James finally found it. Somebody found it somewhere like after day one because we were like, okay, what is going on with this? Because we had focused so much on the kata part or point sparring since we were one of the few gyms that was doing kickboxing there. That was crazy. That was definitely a learning curve when they started doing that. I remember you guys look at it like, oh, no clue. Let's see if we get disqualified. Let's go with the flow. I don't know what's going on. I don't really understand the language she's yelling at me in. So, and shoes.
Oh yeah.
Coaching in shoes. Still.
Oh yeah, I got yelled at for having my shoes on the mat.
Yeah, you got yelled for having them on the mat, and I got
And they
yelled at by the little Dr. Evil looking lady or whatever for chasing me off the mats for not having.
not having shoes.
Yeah, I remember I was
Yeah.
confused. I was like, I'm about to compete, but I'm just walking around, so my feet hurt, and then I yelled at him, like, I don't know.
Then we were all been told like no shoes on the mat, and he's over there like put your shoes on.
Yeah, then she comes out something to DQ you guys for me not having shoes on, but she come out like scolding me. I'm like, what?
It's like
Yeah,
put
she
your
chased
shoes
me
on.
around.
It's like
She
pushing you off.
ran me. I think she found me like through 3 different rings. Because I started, that was definitely in Canada. I had shoes on all the time. Jocelyn, what's your takeaway?
I have two things.
Okay.
One in don't know what division. I kept getting warnings for like either pushing or like different stuff.
Yeah, they'd either give you a
Yeah.
warning for hitting too hard, or they would, when you lighten it up, they would claim you're pushing. Yeah, I got really flustered with that.
And then for point sparring, I think I lost against one girl. Or no, it was continuous. I lost against a girl, and then next year I went against her again, and I also lost.
Yeah.
So I think I need to try harder.
Your friend from England. Mm-hmm. No, she was really good, and you guys had an amazing. That was continuous. That was an amazing fight, though. They even, like me and their coaches were all talking afterwards. Like, what a close fight that was. That was very, very, very good fight.
Mine would probably be like after like the end of the week, I had to remind myself that like I did the best I could. I put the work in, and no matter the results, like I did the best that I could possibly do. And even if it might not have been the results that I wanted, like Riley said, there isn't much more I could have done, and it's over. It's done and over with. And like the things I need to work on, I can go home and now work on those things to hopefully get better on them for the next year, Canada, and see where it takes me.
Well, that was the important mindset thing with the whole event. Like we had all discussed, sure, let's go qualify. Then it was like, oh, I guess we're going because everybody managed to qualify in something.
Yeah.
So we got the invite to join the team and go, and it was, well, let's learn. There's so many people in business or in anything in life have paralysis when it comes to doing something because they call it analysis paralysis. They want to think about everything 100 million times, look at it from every angle. I should practice more. I should do this more. And that's not how it is. Sometimes you got to jump in and learn. We jumped in. We learned. Everybody meddled. We had a good time. We had a great event. We had a lot of fun. We learned so much. And that's the biggest takeaway from it. But I fell into the same traps.
I think a big thing was just how I handled like the pressure in certain situations from Wales to Canada. I look at Wales and I'm like, if I were to be put in that situation like a year earlier, I don't think I would have been able to handle it. Like in Wales, I competed in the Korean division, which it was like, oh, Kendall's like a shoe-in for Korean. Like we do Taekwondo, this is gonna be easy.
Yeah, that was a big
Big
shot. Yeah.
misconception. So I stumbled in the Korean division. I was like, okay, but like, maybe they'll still put me in top 4 so I can, try and boost my place in finals. And then I didn't place in Korean, and that was the one I was like counting on. Like all my money was on Korean. I didn't place. So afterwards, I was just like, it all just like came out.
You were devastated. I was standing there.
I was just like,
I was right there with you. We thought
Yeah.
you were shoo-in for that. That other girl's form was ugly as all get out. So I was like, shoot, Kendall's got this. And the scores came down. I'm like,
Yeah.
I guess they like ugly forms over here.
it was just like, I felt like I wasted the opportunity, and it all just came out. And in those moments, like, like you cry. It's not because you're sad. It's just like a lot's going on. And, some people look at that different ways, but like, thank goodness for my mom. Like, she knows how to handle me in those situations. So I'm like, I just need a minute, step outside, calm myself down a little bit. And it's like, whatever is meant to happen is meant to happen. Like, I didn't place in that division. Okay, it wasn't meant to be. Like, I still have other divisions that I did good in, and I did better than I thought I was going to. So looking at Wales and then looking at Canada in finals, in the qualifiers when I messed up my sword, so it didn't give me good seeding in finals. That was like, okay, I stepped out, but I didn't cry. It wasn't like a meltdown or anything. I took it. I was like, okay, it wasn't meant to be. Like, that just wasn't my division. So it's fine. It's like I still have other divisions I'm very proud of, so I'm not gonna let that one ruin my trip. So.
Well, that's the important thing too, is the mentality to look back at that event in that light. This is what I learned from it. We see people all the time at competitions, or it's one of the hard parts. A lot of us talk about the martial arts schools. You have some people come in, they enroll, and they have a rough class, or they don't do good at their first tournament, so they quit. The parent makes an excuse, this isn't for them, whatever it is. We just had a gentleman come in to try class 2 weeks ago, awkward. Just doing blocks, awkward. This was a grown adult. And I don't like to hound people when it's their first night or two, but I was like, wow, this guy really needs this, because he was so uncoordinated that just basic stuff was extremely hard on him. I don't know what his backstory was. It was his first night. Haven't seen him since. And that sucks, because this would have been a really good learning opportunity for him and a way to overcome something that I bet money there's other things in life he's struggling with. But it's somewhere along the lines, quitting was acceptable. And not dogging on him, great guy, don't know the story like I said, but from what I've seen, that's the difference between a black belt or a champion in anything, is that not giving up. Not everybody's gonna be good their first time. Everybody's gonna stumble, everybody's gonna make mistakes. Like you said, we thought you were a shoo-in for Korean. The choreo that beat you out was atrocious in my opinion, and then the stateside would not have done well. The round kick into that turn thingy would not have done well at all. It was a wild version of it. Even after watching the division, I was like, she got this, and scores came down, and I was floored. And I felt to blame for that a little bit too, because we had told you, you got this, you got it, It's my job as a coach to be positive, but to keep everybody, keep it down to earth. But there were things that I was like, we're gonna dominate in, and we didn't always do that. We did better in some divisions than we did in others. It just really depended stylistically. There was a lot to learn with judging, times of the day that we competed. We had some amazing competition in some areas that maybe others were a little lighter. There were so many takeaways from that, but the trick is that we all went home and we got better. And then we set the sights on doing it again the next year and doing more divisions and going to, that second year we went to Calgary. And we, again, some of us had to qualify again. Some of us were seeded and we're already on there. And for anyone watching, seeding means I think the way they did is we got gold, you were a shoe-in, and then they bumped it to silver. If you had a gold or a silver, you were automatically on the team in those brackets. So if it was Korean or Japanese, it was weapons, it was point sparring, kickboxing, whatever, you were back in. Now, if you didn't get gold or silver, note you had to re-qualify for those positions on the team. So most of us requalified in something. I think I did in creative. It's like we all kind of requalified in some event. What were some of the thoughts? I know we took the training for Calgary differently. I know I lightened up a lot more because we knew a lot more about what we were walking into. I knew where you guys were at because not only did we do Worlds, but then we had our regular tournament circuit, and I'd seen how everybody kind of leveled up after that. So we took it a little differently. Um, that first year, between IKF and Worlds, like you guys both lost a bunch of weight for that, got yourselves in all this good shape. Well, you were already in that shape for the next year, so we didn't have that like part of the process again. So we were a little more lax with it. You had been running your sword for a year then at that point. You trained with Caitlin, you'd done different things, so there wasn't like learning that new weapon. Same here, I didn't have a new weapon to learn. Like we were all kind of doing, we had new forms or we had new goals, but it wasn't all that new wrapped up in a bow. So kind of share with me your guys' thoughts as we got ready for Canada. So we got ready for Calgary, and what your kind of personal goals were with that, because like we just talked about kind of like how at the end you guys looked at everything. I wrote a couple letters to several people I knew that were messaging me, so I put up photos on the pages, but I didn't put what I got and put my medals in there. And I had a couple people message me, hey, we want to know what you got. And I felt like I had let you guys down because of where we had fell on some of the stuff. I felt like it was my job to have foreseen some of those things or known some of those things. Like, for example, we found out once we got there, you could strike a judge from a country if there was 3 German judges in your ring and you wanted to sub out an English judge, which we were able to do in Canada, so we knew there were things I wish I would have known more, and I beat myself up pretty bad about it for a day or two. Wanting, because I felt like, when we got on the plane, I was like, we have done everything we can do, and then when we got there, the hand gestures and knowing we could strike a judge, or there were some little things that I just missed. Wasn't covered, I missed it, whatever, it was my fault, but I really kind of beat myself up about it. So I know going into Canada, I had a different outlook for how to do it. We treated our training different. We once everybody went up and we qualified, which the qualifier was miserable. I was so flustered when we left there that day just because it was all over the place. With running, not only competing with you guys, qualifying myself, and then running the computers and doing all that, like I was just overly done when we got out of that room. So as we got ready for Canada, what did you guys, we'll start last time people started, or Kendall, like what was your mindset or your thought process different?
I think the first time my expectations were really low on how I was going to place. I didn't know what I was walking into, so my goal was just to medal once, just to get top 3 in one of my divisions, and ended doing that in Wales. So then when we went to Canada, I was told that, the forms competition is much tougher in Canada. I was told that, but then my expectations, I also, they were higher because I placed last year, so I was like, okay, well, my goal is to final in every division this year, which I ended up doing except for one. So my expectations, I had higher expectations, and at the same time,
Higher expectations of yourself or of the tournament?
of myself,
Yourself, okay.
of how I compete. Even like looking at my form from Wales to Canada, it's like such a big difference, which is a good thing. But at first it doesn't feel real because, all of us were in school, we have homework, we have tests, we have extracurriculars, we have other sports we like to do. And on top of that, you also have to realize you're going to a different country to compete. So it doesn't really feel real when you're trying to juggle all this other stuff. And I think that's when like the team aspect really comes into play. Because when we go to Taekwondo, it's just Taekwondo. It's not, math or science or the test or whatever. And, we have coaches that know how to handle us in those situations. Like, you know how to talk to me differently than Emily, because we react to things differently, whatever that may be. And then we also have like a team, like, we're like 7 years apart, we're like 5 years apart. But at the end of the day, we all act like we're friends. So I think I kind of relied on that a lot and more having fun in Canada rather than, it's just work, which is what we did in Wales.
Yeah,
So
I
just enjoying the experience.
completely agree with you. That's a great way to phrase it, because that's how I felt too. Like we let ourselves have more fun in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
Not that the trip was more fun, but we just let ourselves enjoy what we were doing more.
Right.
Whereas like I felt like we worked ourselves to death before Wales. Like that was my goal for Canada, was not to do that again, because I was like, oh man, it was rough. So what would you say, Emily, like expectation wise?
Like going to Wales, I was like, didn't have a lot of faith in myself that I would place really well or anything, but leaving there, I had actually placed in 3 divisions. So my goal for Canada was to either up those placements in like certain divisions, like in Wales, if I got 3rd in point sparring, maybe I would try to get 2nd in point sparring at Canada, and just try to set a new goal, but more realistic goals. Like for me, I can't say like, oh, I'm going to get gold and everything, because that's not realistic for myself. Like I have to set realistic goals.
I expect you to get gold and everything. I told myself all the way to Canada, we're gonna take, or on the way to Wales, like we're bringing all the gold home. Like, I was pumped. I actually remember, because most of you guys, I texted you because you guys have phones, you're gonna be world champions.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt really bad about that when we came back that first year and we didn't obtain that goal. I was like, okay, maybe we pushed a little too hard.
Didn't the
You should
US
get that
bring
first
home
one.
gold?
I just would like, I need to set some more realistic goals, and then still work really hard, but not overdo it. Like there would be nights where we would be out and we would just go, 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 go. And that would be great and all, but like sometimes you just needed like a little break to just take a deep breath and relax.
I felt we did much better getting ready for Calgary with that. Whereas Wales, Cardiff, it was work. I mean, I literally remember standing one time, Brad and I were doing our forms at Sensei, so I think it was almost 3 hours that day. Like it was insane.
Yeah.
Jocelyn, how do you feel Canada was different for you?
I think I tried harder.
Yeah, you definitely did. I would say, but you were a lot older.
Yeah.
That you're older. You've been doing it longer. Brooklyn?
Like whenever I went to Wales, whenever I feel like I was completely under prepared, like I had no help, no preparing. But so I was like, I don't care if I place anything, I just want to do my best. And then when I went to Calgary, I'm like, okay, I placed in 2 events in Wales, so I want to actually try placing all my events, which I did that. So I was because I feel like I was more relaxed, more prepared. I had you guys to help me prepare, and it was more up to me to practice at home, because I have you guys every single day, drilling me.
Yeah, it was more you were part of a team. It was a team instead of just 2 students going. For sure, and that was the cool thing too. I remember telling all them when we were getting ready, I was super excited with you and Jesse going with us. And I guess I should say at the beginning, Madeline and Jesse weren't able to make it today, so there were 2 other people on the team. But yeah, I was so excited because we had a bigger team and more of us going, and it was going to be just it was overwhelming for me. So I got to corner everybody and compete. I was like, woo! That's why I remember I said, oh, you're not going to fight this year? No. I'm fighting to just make it through the league. We're good. I'm going to do my weapons. We're good. What do you think was different for Canada, Ben?
I think I had a different mindset about it.
Okay.
More practice harder. You gotta get ready for the tournament. These ones you don't these ones are further away that you don't have much practice for.
Yeah.
But
You didn't let your emotions get to you as much for Canada as you
yeah,
did.
but also in Wales, the sparring, I just had too much nerves for my sparring. I didn't do it.
Well, 2 or 3 kids in the divisions below yours and in front of yours went to the hospital. So.
Oh yeah, because there's one kid that literally did a spinning heel kick to the kid in the head and sent him to the hospital.
Yeah, that was 2 matches before you. Yeah, it was great trying to talk him in. I was like, I will not let you get hurt. I was like, because Brad had come up, he's like, is he gonna be good? I'm like, one more kid gets hurt, I'm not getting him in the ring. This is getting ridiculous. That center ref need to control that ring a little better, but that's.
Yeah, sent 3 kids to the hospital.
Well, that was the other big thing though too. That was the big thing about Wales, that all they did was they're like, oh, it's light contact, and we got over it, and it was full contact. There was no light about nothing. I remember the dude hit me that I was fighting. I was like, dang, bro, hold up. I thought this was, hold on. I fight in the cage, bro, that was hard. Excuse me.
I remember doing the kickboxing match, and before that, everyone was like, okay, everything's light down there.
They said light.
Got in that ring, and the girl was punching with all of her might. And I mean, it was hard. And I was like, there is nothing light about this. This is like.
But literally
hard.
that morning though, because you fought your continuous or whatever, was it point? I don't remember what it was, but we were getting a lighter to lighten up. And then like you two went, and I'm like, just hit him with everything he got. Like, damn.
Yeah,
like
whenever-
they were so
Whenever we were in Canada, I remember my girl for like, I fought her first and second continuous, like for finals. She just put in like full contact, but she wasn't young enough, so she didn't know any of the continuous rules. So like she just put on knees. I'm like, I'm not trying to do knees. Like I'm not doing full contact. I'm doing continuous.
yeah,
And, like,
that was one of the big things I remembered is we were told like the word light was used so much. I remember us talking, we're like, I thought that like you came to fight, like your opinion, like light must be different now.
Yeah, like when I was in continuous in Wales, I did something. I got kicked back really hard. Like a bunch of kids were kicking people really hard, and they would make them go back into the tables, and people almost broke the TVs that were there.
Yeah, they were bumping
Yeah.
the tables. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
good.
like I got kicked
Fighting was
onto
your
the
rally.
table. Yeah, I got kicked onto the table, and the TV almost fell.
Yeah. So what was different for you?
First, I was at college, so that was a lot. It was harder and a lot different. So I was 2 hours away, so I had to do everything myself. Like I didn't really have. I had coaching, but not physical coaching.
No, you weren't there, but now you're at school.
So
Other than
I came back as much as I could, but I was also trying to manage my first semester of college. That was stressful, on top of trying to make weight and make sure that my cardio and everything was ready to fight. And I didn't have
And
good
then
food accessible, so that was
battling with
hard
your
too.
extensive social life down there at school.
But yeah, it was completely different than Wales.
Yeah, that was one thing that really bugged me with that one was you being at school, not being able to, like, we'd all talk, I'm like, oh man, because Kendall and I talked before training and stuff, I'm like, Herm, Jesse, or Wichita, you're Springfield, I'm like, oof, it's rough because we never could quite get together. And even for Canada, we didn't, Brett and I were training with Sensei Kramer once a week, and then I would come literally. I remember the night that we worked on bowing in, and you guys were making fun. You guys were laughing. Dude, we worked on this all day, like whatever. It's like an hour later. You're like, "Ooh, okay." And that was one thing that was funny over there. So many people complimented that bow in that Sensei Kramer had us doing, but I'd show it to them, and then no one would do it. I would never tell Brett, I'm like, I am so tired of explaining this to people for them not to do it. But it was great. It was such a neat experience. I think we did much better. That was the first time for me going overseas like that with you guys and doing a comp at that level with that many people. And when I had done one years before at just a big, large nationals, we had let our nerves get the best of us. Izzy got out in her ring and did an extra step in her form, which knocked her out of the placing. Caden ran his like 7 or 8 times and didn't make it to the finals on his. This was in Chicago. Ben was a newborn, and I went up there and stayed in a hotel for a week and rode a bicycle back and forth to the tournament because I didn't have money to rent a car that week. And when I literally, there was just a lot of stuff learning, and to be at that level, there's 18 rings in that tournament. It ran all day and night. And I remember when Isabel messed up and the look on her face, like I literally left the tournament, bought a train ticket, went home. Like I didn't go, I had my stuff in my bag. I didn't even hang out to eat dinner. I was so disappointed and upset and not feeling I had gotten everybody ready because of my experience with it. So I know for like Cardiff, like we just worked our butts off. But I do know that the memories we made and the fun we had and how it bonded us all together, even, everybody's parents, and it's something that we'll always remember. What is either Canada or Calgary, because we're almost an hour in, something that's like a funny story, something you remember that was like really fun to you guys that kind of will always hang with you, like what's something fun?
I had one that's like not funny, but like it's funny now.
Okay, just say it.
In Canada, apparently in Europe at the tournaments, you're supposed to have a physical every year, and we weren't.
I don't know if that was funny. That was
Now
definitely.
it's funny, but it was not funny. It was very serious.
Yeah, because the physical in the States, you had it was good for 2 years. Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't know that, so I was going up there and kind of got my mom a little flustered, and I was trying to talk to this lady who spoke like her first language was German, so she didn't really understand what I was saying, and I was trying to like figure something out with her, like as I was like holding my ears, and then we got back, and then I just sat down on the couch by myself. And then, like, some of your parents came by, and then my dad made, like, 15 phone calls trying to get a doctor.
Yeah, I was trying all over the
saying,
place
like,
while your
okay
dad-
to
yeah.
compete. Yeah. And then my doctor, I love him now. He signed it from the U.S. and sent it over.
After I forged all your documents. but
Yeah.
One signature I couldn't quite get 'cause it was really big. And I was like, oh,
But that
we're
was
getting you in this tournament.
it was kind of funny then laughing because I was like, in those moments, like, I don't want to talk to anybody. And we were going to Banff to, like,
Yeah.
sightsee, and I was in the back. I was like, I don't want to talk to anybody right now.
Yeah, I'm losing that.
And then after my dad was like, your doctor sent over the thing, and you were like, oh, Kendall can talk to everybody now.
Yeah, that was as we were like coming through Banff.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys finally got the email. We were all cheering because your dad and I were working every shady angle we could come up with to get you a physical from the United States. Like we were working it. Your dad was working some great angles. So we were both sitting up there plotting and conniving in the front seat on how he was getting you in. And I'm like,
I was in the back just staring out the window for an hour. It's like, I'm so done.
it was a long drive.
Yes.
How about you, Emily?
There's like this picture that popped up the other day, and it's Brooklyn laying down, and then Kendall's
Oh,
on,
yeah.
and then I'm on Kendall because we were just so
Over on the
tired.
side.
Yeah, we were so tired.
Oh, no, that was the last day. That was your guys' like pile.
Yes, that was our pile.
We're waiting on
so
others.
tired. Brooklyn's over there sleeping.
Kendall's like
and then
shaking. Kendall's like, stop shaking her, let her sleep.
I'm laying down trying to sleep, and then I'm on Kendall trying to sleep, so we're just so tired from everything. So we just like made a little pile, and we're
I
just
remember like
all the
shaking
bags,
for
all
like
the
5
yeah.
minutes.
Like the pictures of us laying down on the hard bleachers,
Yes.
everybody just face down.
How about you, Jocelyn? What's a funny story you remember? Think about it. Brooklyn?
So whenever like renting a car, only my dad could drive because Jason had like I think it was like he had like something that's like he could like they weren't allowed to drive.
Yeah.
So we're like, okay. So we'd always take turns and then we'd always joke around like we're in the car, like a cop passed us and they would like be behind us. We're like, oh no, just you're gonna get pulled over now because you can't drive. It's like he's like driving illegally and just like we're like, hey, if we switch, we got to switch places.
Nice.
So we're like, don't get pulled over because you can't drive.
Ben?
On our way, no, when we went to Banff, when we went to Lake Louise, standing on the rocks and almost like falling in the water.
Yeah.
There was, like, rocks. Yeah, just like picked up rocks and almost like or in the mountain when we went in the mountain, getting on like the big rocks or getting on the edge of the cliff and doing the kicks for pictures.
Yeah.
And like Lake Louise, you could only get on certain rocks because you never know. Some of the rocks could wobble while you're on them and you might fall in. Or
That's a risk. You're trying to stand on one leg and do
Yeah.
kicks for scenic
So it was like
photos.
holding my hand and taking a picture of it.
and then also
everybody.
Yeah.
Also, I thought it was funny while we were at Lake Louise, those people that were playing like hitting the big drums or whatever.
Oh, on the other side. I was there one
Oh,
time.
yeah, the native festival.
Yeah,
or whatever it's going on.
That's the lake that Jesse dropped her phone in.
Oh,
yeah.
And she dropped it late. I thought she dropped it in the stream. She dropped it like
Yeah,
Louise.
the very first day.
Really?
Yes.
I saw her and we all fake like we were calling her. We're like,
And she was like here, like Mac was like in the room, like, what do you call guys?
oh, that's funny. Yeah, she could find it on the map, see it was at the lake. It was at the
Oh,
bottom.
yeah, pictures like
Oh my goodness.
How'd she drop it?
trying to take a picture and just like plop plop. You know, like you know, like hear like the plop plop, and then like the fish like start swimming by.
We saw it. I remember we saw it.
Honestly, I don't have very many funny stories, but I know it was just us. We were walking back after the tournament. You guys had to wait for medals, and it was really late. So we were going back to the hotel, and we tried to go through the park in Calgary, thinking it'd be faster. But apparently they closed the gates.
Oh, yeah.
So we got in, but then we couldn't get out, so we had to go all the way back and around, and it just added like 30 minutes to the walk.
Which was great because we walked so much over there.
Yes,
There was more walking.
We were just trapped in the park, but there was like a open gate,
Yeah.
So we had to go all the way back through the park to the other end, and it was already late, and that was a nightmare.
It leaves a lot of cardio in for the day.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I know
Yeah.
one funny thing was like in Calgary when we were getting your division sorted out, and Ron put me up to coming up and telling you the division was taken care of, but you had to fight right now. And the look on your face, or when Emily finally took a bathroom break and then we all screamed that she was called, she almost ran up on the stand doing the wrong divisions with the flag. I think that was one of the coolest things too, is how we like sprinting through the place playing past the flag with Brett or Dominic or
We
one of
usually
you
find some
guys.
members like, hey, I need your flag when you see it.
Yeah, it was like by the end it was like, got your flag? I'm like, I got a flag. Like, it's,
I don't know, the first flag I had at the end of it.
Yeah.
I don't think I have my flag. I don't think it's my flag. I think it's someone else's flag.
You never know who's flying.
yeah, we were passing the flag around. Tricking you guys on the divisions was fun. Like we just had, there was so many like fun things. You guys let Dominic convince you that you couldn't cheer for me.
Yeah.
That was a good
At
one.
Wales.
Yeah, that was a good one. He was trying at this weekend in Atlanta. He's like, "Oh, did you hear Korean division's going like 5 minutes?
Oh,
Are you
yeah.
ready?" And he was looking at me. He was trying so hard. Like, it's a pretty good straight face. Text alerts, bro. We're not
He's still
Wales.
like, he's
Yeah.
like deadpan all the time. So
He
it's
was
like,
trying. Yeah, we were over in a corner messing around. We were getting a good chuckle out of it. I was like, oh man, it's like when I know Kendall and I were staying here to do sync in our bracket with Team Canada was in, and they walked off. I was like, David, they didn't call, got DQ them. I was like, they saw what we were bringing, they were afraid. He was like, yeah, okay. We were talking mad smack. I was like, come on, just start the division, line up, DQ them, let's go, bro, come on. Everybody wants to get home. Bobby was just like, what are you doing?
That's the most fun I've had in the division. We weren't even nervous at all.
No, there was no way we were going to
Oh,
beat them.
yeah, that's the one I didn't medal.
You see me, we were like the opposite though. It was our first time,
Yeah, we
and we were
learned
like
like 3
competing
times.
with a sync form, and we were like really like, oh.
Yeah, we practiced 3 times, like the whole time.
Yeah, really.
Okay, we're going for it. We're
Because you came up to us that one day and you go, how would you guys like to do
And
the
then Craig
sync
was like, you
form?
guys look good.
Yeah, you guys did it at Battle of the Midwest. That was the first time.
No, we didn't.
No, that was
we were just
Oh, you're practicing.
We were just
Yeah,
practicing.
yeah. No, that Whale or
Yeah.
Calgary was the first time you ran.
Yeah, well, we tried to practice at like tournaments when we see each other. We just tried to practice a little
Because
bit.
we
Then
joked about it, like,
Yeah.
maybe like,
we were like, hey, we can do this in Canada, and we were just kind of joking around. We actually did, and we were like,
And then you won your
oh.
division.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. And then Kendall and I were standing there. We got to see it right here. So I was like, okay. It's like all those massive teams, which in Calgary, there wasn't a lot of competition for that division. So we're like, oh, we'll give it a shot. And then seeing them, I just know the biggest takeaways from that was just putting ourselves into something new, doing it, having so much fun with it, enjoying it, the memories that everybody created, just everything, just seeing the countryside and going in the shops, and you know, we went here to eat, we went there to eat, we just did so many things, and we did so much together. That was just really cool to experience. Or, you know, I don't know about you guys with social media, but did you guys like friend anyone over there? Or yeah,
I had people friend me.
did you?
Yeah.
I had a couple on Instagram that I followed. There's a couple of the coaches and stuff, and like we just made friends not only all over the United States, but from people all over the world. You know, I'll see stuff pop up like, what the heck is that? I'm like, oh, that's that guy, you know, or that's this one, or you know, there's a guy I've been friends with that's out of England, and it's always cool because he's a martial artist, has a dojo there. We've been social media friends since I got social media like 16 years ago, 15 years ago, and you know, it's so cool, or different things that we did, you'd see it get shared all over the world, and to have that experience of draping that flag and representing the United States and doing something so huge. And then it was so cool the way that the community supported us, and we had so many local businesses and so many people messaged me while we were over there, how's everybody doing? So much stuff was shared, and to be able to bring that pride of, you know, being the only ones, you know, to compete in martial arts from Team USA out of Lincoln County, to be able to bring that back and to do something that cool and take that around the world, you know, there's a lot to be said for that, being able to do that and represent not only your country, your community as such outstanding people, that it was such a pride thing. It was so cool, and that's why those pictures are displayed at school, and our belts and our flags are up, and our pictures, and it is just something that I'm still so proud of to this day that I'm excited we got to do this. So as we wrap up, is there anything you guys want to kind of end with today? Like I said, we kind of did our fun stories, we talked about, is there anything that you guys can think of that, you want to share?
That it was really hard to get in places after the tournament for food.
Yes.
Yes.
In Calgary.
Yeah.
So hard. No minors after like 7 o'clock.
Yeah, was it? Yeah, because
Yeah,
they had slot machines
yeah.
or something. Yeah, none of you guys could go in anywhere for us
We
to
ended
eat
up finding another place to go eat at.
Chick-fil-A or
Chick-fil-A,
any.
yeah.
I had such a bad stomach ache by
Dairy
like
Queen.
Wednesday.
We were on our phones for like hours.
Just like scrolling
Trying to
through
find
places.
Well, yeah, or how many
Yeah.
pull up? They'd have a no minors after 7
Or
sign
they're
or
in school
something.
with their team, like,
There was like a 45-minute
No, wait, yeah.
No, that was probably the worst. It was. I would say because of the layout difference, because we were in like a St. Charles type area where we're just driving places, whereas in Cardiff it was a small European town where we walked past like 30 different places, and then we had the mall we cut through to get to the hotel. For those of us that were at that hotel, ooh, that was another one. How many people we crammed at? I brought that up this weekend in Atlanta. We got some people in the elevator, and I'm like, oh, this is nothing like what we had in the elevator.
Yeah, you
My
said
mom
there
has
was
a picture
like
of that.
21.
No, there was not 21 of us in an
I think
elevator
we were
because it was a
all
little bitty elevator.
It was just all of us, and we had like our swords and like our bows.
And our-
like
our
bags.
bags.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that one day we were taking our stuff up, we threw it in your mom and dad's room,
Yeah.
so we could all
We
go
had
eat
her
or something.
sword and stuff in our
Yeah.
room and stuff. And the elevator is just so small, and we were like all like squeezing in as close as
Yeah,
we
we
could.
pushed the occupancy load of that elevator.
Oh yeah.
Because we didn't want to wait, and they had all them little bitty elevators and no air conditioning in the hotels, and it was such an experience though, being overseas like that. Like I felt the Cardiff experience was way cooler than Calgary. But at the same time, I don't know, so for me, like it's always been a dream, like any organization I've been a part of, if there was an ability to be on Team USA, it was something I always wanted to do. Because martial arts, you can learn so many lessons with it, but being able to do something and then see the world with it is awesome. Like so many people dream of that, and you guys will notice more as you grow up a little bit how many unique experiences you guys have had with martial arts, like how many states you've been to, countries you've been to, and you're not, 21 yet. Can't say you're not 18 yet because this one's pretty older on us. But you guys aren't 21 yet, and you'll meet people that are 30, 35, 40 years old, they're my age, that have not left the state. Or they've only, I went to Illinois, that was it. Like, it's baffled, it blows my mind, but at the same time, I've known so many people like that. It's not that wild. It's more unique that you guys can say at your age that you've been to these other countries, you've represented Team USA, you've, as you guys go to college, as you get your first jobs and you start listing this stuff out, it's wild. I've had to do that recently with some of the websites and some of the different things I've been doing with business. I have to list out everything I've done. I'm like, wow, that's actually pretty neat. Like, wow, I did this, I've been there. Stuff that we don't think about because that's not what we're doing. We're having fun with it. But when you start listing it out, it's an amazing achievement to say that you've done those things. And it's going to make you guys stand out so much in the future. That was why I was pushing so many people to go to Calgary with us. Like, come on, let's go. Let's see how many we can get qualified. Like, this is a huge opportunity for you guys. So.
I
Cool.
actually started making a resume last summer because I had a career fair coming up at my school, and so I had all those experiences on it, and I was giving it to employers, and they're like, "Oh my God, this is really cool." Like,
Yeah.
BMX, the Taekwondo, the kickboxing, going to Calgary, like all that. They were really like impressed with just how young I was doing that stuff.
Well, and that's why I always try to get out there because you'll watch the parents that like youth kickboxing. And they'll see me sitting out there and I'm on my phone or my laptop and I'm working. It's like, well, I'm here, I'm working, I own the place, I paid the bills, I've spent 10 years and 6 years training y'all. You guys can run a 40-minute youth class. Like, you guys are quite capable. I'm right here. It's not like it's, my instructor, there were times where he wouldn't be around for a week and parents would go up and quit because the instructors would be playing, at the time it was Nintendo 64. They were playing Mortal Kombat in the office and the kids were running around the gym screaming because no one was teaching. That's not what's going on, but you'll watch them like, look at me, look at me, look at me, and then I'll come out and run one of you through a drill, and then I'll point out or I'll go sit with the parents and be like, like you guys qualified for WACO, Team USA, to go to Portugal.
Yeah, no.
Well, it was different. I was Portugal, you guys were in the Caribbean. Yeah, adults were Portugal. Multiple time WKU. You guys fought on IKF, which is the biggest tournament. Like the IKF, WACO, WKU, those are three of the biggest kickboxing organizations around when it comes to tournaments. Like that's huge. You guys compete on the NASCA circuit and win on the NASCA circuit. It's hard to find adults with those type of qualifications, more or less teens. So I try to point that out to them, like it's huge, you know, and with Kendall doing different speaking things she's done, I'm like, throw the martial, like I'm not trying to get you to plug the academy, but when you tell people that you're up there, you're like, oh, I'm the DECA VP and I'm speaking, they're like, oh, she's very nice and she's proper, she's got her prissy hand going, and then, you know, well, and then we got Blonde Kendall, we met 2 weekends ago, you're but then when you tell them that you're a world champion with a sword, like, that puts a whole nother level out. People are like, are you kidding me? Like you guys, like those things, like everything you guys have done, you know, you've got how many world championship titles?
I don't know, a lot. Like 10.
10. That's huge. That's huge. You know, when you put that on a resume, say you're going to college or you're getting a job, you put down that you have that, like people are gonna be like, hold on, what? Because so many of your peers are playing video games, they're too busy worrying about doing, I can't say duck lips, I don't know what the new Snapchat thing is, but some stupid thing on social media. You know, there's something dumb they're doing, they're doing so many things that are pointless, like, oh my gosh, I got 1,000 likes on something. And you're like, cool, I got 10 gold medals, like, boom. Let's see your hand. Not many people can say they've done those things. I went to a business thing recently, and they went around the room and asked everybody what they do. So you're like, I'm an entrepreneur, or I speak, or I do this. And normally I'll just be like, I'm board painting, or I'm board painting, whatever I'm there representing. I'll keep it like chill. But that day I felt like flexing. I was like, I have a podcast, I own a 6-figure painting academy, I'm a gold medalist, I'm part of Team USA, I have a 7-figure painting business, I'm an award-winning speaker, I'm writing a book. Like I throw it all out there for people, and it sometimes I do it as a flex. Other times, because like I've been in martial arts my whole life, and you know we've got our garage. You guys have all your stuff decorated. You guys got all your awards and stuff. I'm not like adults don't know how to win. I meet adults all the time to try. Hey man, I need you to do this. They're like, I can't. What do you mean you can't? Like I get flustered with it. Brett and I talk about this. Sensei Thomas and I talk about it all the time. Like we have teens and kids that go around the world and compete. You get adults tell you, oh, you can't do that. You can't do that. Like, come on, bro. I see people do bigger things than this by lunch. Like, come on. You can do it. You guys have learned how to win at such a young age that every one of you does bigger things. You know, Madeline gets any smarter, she's gonna be Megamind. She could be like, villain.
I know.
I was totally gonna jet the books, so I'm working on the books. I was totally gonna like. Like Madeline was born with a deficiency of brains 3 times over. And I'm like, oh, she's gonna shoot me. I was having so much fun with it. Yeah, by the way, you haven't been here for this, but I'm writing 10 books, and you guys they're kids' personal development books, and they're all based off of you guys. So you're gonna be a cartoon caricature in a book, and you're gonna get an email to you to like help me proof it and everything, and help add your own twist. And yours were wrote. I have to send you yours to look at. So I did on the way to Atlanta the other day. I started writing children's books. But yeah, I forgot to tell you, but yeah, I'll go over yours, what your premise is. Everybody's got premise and like a thing they overcome and how they use martial arts for it. It's gonna be pretty cool. So you guys, what's really gonna be neat about that though is as we do this, like you guys will be an ad author because you guys are gonna go in and add your changes and add your thoughts and personality to them. So you'll be authors on those too. So that'll be another little checklist of things that, you know, it's going to hurt you, it's going to help you. It's going to hurt you at points in life because people are going to go, wow, you've done all this cool stuff, you're like 19. And there's going to be other people that are going to be like, whatever, I can drink like 12 beers, bro. Like, you're going to have people that do stupid stuff too, be like, whatever, I have like a really big Snapchat. And you're like, wow, that's really cool. Goals. Yeah, congratulations, Joe. You can't spell YouTube. So, but that's awesome. I appreciate you guys coming on here. I appreciate all you guys tuning in, checking this out, and getting some long-term format to meet the members of Team USA that live in your community and hear their stories from competing over there and and just how real it was for them to wear that flag, represent Lincoln County, represent the United States of America, and bring that type of pride back to the community. And we just, can't wait to do it again and do it on an even bigger level next time. So thank you guys. Like, subscribe, share the daylights out of this, and show everybody how awesome they are.